Hey folks, Jonathan here. I usually don't do this, but I actually went and bought a car that was already built, believe it or not. And just wanted to point out a few things on rat rods and buying rat rods and a few things that, about this vehicle. It's pretty neat, and this is supposedly the cow and doors of a 31 Chevrolet. And I don't think there's anything else that's left that's 31 Chevrolet. This thing came up on Facebook last night, and the price was so right on it that I called, or I got a hold of him, and I went really early this morning. He said he had a guy already that was coming to look at it when he got off work, and so I asked him what time he went to work, and he told me, and I said, well, how about if I come look at it before you go to work? So I didn't want to miss the opportunity because of the price. But now I've unloaded it here in the tall grass, and I hate I've done that now. But anyway, one thing about it, when somebody builds something, they put their own ideas to it, and they do it the way they want to, and they personalize it of being their own. And he definitely done that he got a lot of Second Amendment signs on it, Palmia sign, got flags hanging on it. But anybody that has a problem with somebody else personalizing their stuff's probably a butthole anyway. That was one of the reasons that I got away from antique tractors. If you've seen one John Deere A, you've probably seen every one of them, because they're all painted green and yellow seats, and there's not much difference in them, and nobody personalized them. And in the antique tractor hobby, if you did personalize something, people they was the buttholes about it. They would get mad. So that's one of the reasons I sort of got away from it. I think it's every man's, option to be able to do what he wants with his own car. Even if I don't like it or anybody else don't like it, it's still his option. So, somebody built this the way they wanted to build it. And when the ad came up and I seen it, I assumed and figured it was just a, average rat rod thrown together. Somebody, probably didn't, they don't spend a lot of time on this stuff, just, as quick as you can, and, it's not fabricated as good as it would be if it was something that was fully custom built. So when I went to look at this, I didn't have real high expectations. But for the price that this was, I figured I'd better go take a look and see. So when I got there, of course, the first thing, all the stickers and the doodads and all that on it, I wasn't too worried about. You can see the windshield really quick, and the windshield to me looks like a dune buggy windshield. I don't necessarily like that. If I would have built it, there's a lot of things, of course, I'd have done different. But when it came to the frame, the suspension, the steering setup, the way that it was built, the way it was fabricated, and the quality of the work, I don't know that I, could have done any better of a job. And I was really impressed with it. First, of course, disc brakes on the front. Now, I don't know what they use for brake covers. I don't know if I was a guessing man, I'd say that could have been a skillet. And it was drilled out and made. I'm not sure. Never seen them like that. But I don't know. I'm assuming that's probably an A axle maybe. Or it could be the 32 Chevrolet or 31 Chevrolet. I have no clue. They've got a steering stabilizer on it, Southern or SoCal. Everything, friction shocks, everything was really well done. The welds are nice. They're not overground to where somebody's ground all the weld out of it. There's nothing that I see that would worry me at all on this. Especially, the front end. Of course, that was the first thing that I was looking at. And then you go back to the motor mounts. Let's go to the other side. There's not quite as much grass over there. Go back to the motor mounts, and somebody, they're pretty solid mounts, which is fine. And for this thing, and they've done a really good job tying them in, grinding them. These thread in, of course, and then they put some tacks on them so they wouldn't turn. Made the brackets, I guess, or this could be something they ordered too. I mean, but it's really done nice. Manifold. Pretty impressive. Somebody split this manifold. This is a 230 Chevrolet 6-cylinder. They split it and capped it on each end. And this is cast iron water pipe that they have welded in and put flanges on it and just made a split manifold. Now, you know, they used to do this years ago, but you don't see people doing this kind of stuff that much anymore. And I'm assuming that this was built somewhere around 2008 to 2010 or something like that, because this is actually titled as a 2011 custom and has already been inspected for the state of North Carolina. It's got a 2011 custom title, so that pretty much, you know, clears you up for being able to get it on the road legal, all that good stuff. It's always nicer, it would be nice if it had a 31, you know, Chevrolet title, but you know, it's not a big deal. At least it's drivable. And the frame itself, this is not, it's actually, I think this is an ordered frame. I don't think this is something that somebody fabricated in their shop. It's square tube, but and the reason I don't think that somebody built this in their shop is it's tapered and done right. It's tapered from the front to the back. It gets wider, and so this may have been something that was ordered, you know, maybe online, or you know, I don't know who all makes them frames, but really nice frame. Steering gear box, you know, they've got it mounted well and good and strong. I don't know what the box is. It does have some plane of steering. I'm gonna have to figure out what box this is, because it's gonna either need some work or it's gonna need replaced. Really a pretty good job. You know, the doors open and shut good on it. They're not, you know, they're fabricated together here. A couple things, you know, besides the plane of steering, the gas pedal is mounted a good ways over to the right, and I don't know how it's done. I hadn't got up under it and looked real hard, but the shifter is on the right side of the transmission, and it's a 3-speed, and I've never seen that before. It's a first for me. This thing's been sitting out in the weather for a little while, and it's gotten a bunch of leaves and stuff in it. Of course, you know, it's not I'm sure a comfortable ride, and not sure what they built this back from. I know this is the side panel from under the hood, you know, the engine side panel, and it's got what he told me was an Oldsmobile rear end. I have no clue. I hadn't checked it out really good. Them are glass taillights. I don't know. They look smaller than the old Ford head or taillights that you see them used. But guy said this was '69 Camaro. I don't know what if the hood is. I don't know what this emblem is. But anyway, they got the old Jeep style latches on it. The inside of the hood. Like I said, the work that they done on it was such good quality work, it didn't bother me to buy it. The only issue I seen back here was the rubber on the shock mount. Now they've got a transverse leaf, but they've also got some coil springs back here. But all the welds, all the frame, everything looks really good. And I don't think there's any issues. A small fuel tank, it probably, I don't know, it might be 7 or 8 gallon. It might be smaller. Gas don't smell bad in it. I don't know how long it's been since it's been started or ran. More Second Amendment signs. I don't know what the red dots are, if they got something in there, but they got 2 Chevrolet emblems on it and 31 tags. But you know, pretty neat. Like I said, the price, I couldn't even consider building this thing for that and for what I paid, so I figured I would jump on it. So anyway, some of the little things too that we've noticed, you know, the air cleaner, they got guns on it, little skeleton. They got another gun here for the dipstick tube. I'm surprised, you know, the wiring was done right. You know, everything's encased in and closed. Looks like that, you know, they took their time and done a good job on that. It's got a dual stage master cylinder, which is a good thing. And it's kind of weird that they've got a voltage regulator on it instead of a one-wire alternator. So they're running the old alternator. and most people don't take the time to wire, you know, for an old voltage regulator. But it looks pretty decent. I mean, it needs, you know, to me, gotta do some changing, of course. Take these signs off. Different style windshield. Maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to debate on about this roll bar, but it does have seat belts. Look like military style seat belts in it. But just one of them deals I couldn't pass up. The engine has got a knock. I have not started it. I hadn't heard it run. We're going to do a first start on it. It's been a little while since it's been started, but he said number 6. You could hear it, but it sounded like it was up top. So if it's up top, maybe the next couple of weekends I'll, you know, see if I can't get the head off, get the pan off, and maybe see if we've got a wrist pin or a busted piston or something maybe we can save this 230. If not, you know, we can find an engine stick in it. I know it's at 292, but you know, they're a little taller deck. Not sure about where the exhaust will fit. I kind of like to use that manifold. You know, I like their work on that. You know, it's always nice to see somebody else's work and it be done, you know, right and done. Pretty impressive job. And I don't see any cracks in it, you know, anything like that. You know, they've welded steel flanges on the bottom of this cast. So, I mean, just was real impressed with the whole overall thing. I don't like the little tiny radiator, and I'm not, you know, much for that grill shell. But you know, a nice, you know, older model Chevrolet grill shell or something like that would be nice in it. And but if you're into rat rods, that's, you know, it's about what everybody wants anyway. Nice and low, and like I said, I'll have to figure out steering gearbox. But anyway, that's one of the things I wanted to show you. Let's look at the rear end here. I hadn't even really looked at it. Looks pretty well done. Bars sit pretty low to the ground up in the front. And I'm not sure about the rear. He said it was an Oldsmobile rear. If it is, it's an old one. I don't know. Oh, I didn't think it had brakes in it there at first, but it does have brakes in it. Must have been some emergency brakes where they took out. Trying to see, the shifter is on the left side. The handle comes out way over. That's kind of weird. Cross members look good. I hate I parked in all this grass. Yeah, it looks like a lot of the stuff might have been bought. You know, a lot of the parts on the frame, the suspension, stuff like that. I don't think a lot of this was fabricated. It may have been purchased instead of fabricated, but see, they got a pressure brake light switch, and let me zoom in there. Maybe you can see what I'm talking about here. The brake light switch works off brake pressure, so you put it in line and use it. The shifter is on this side. I don't know how they've done that, because the shifter comes out a long ways over to the right, so I don't know whether they got it bent or what, but I have to check that out. Yeah, the center of the car is right here. The shifter's over here, so I wondered if they don't have a piece welded on it and brought over. But anyway, we're going to do a first start on it. Maybe a little later. I don't know if I'll have time today or not, but we'll see how it does and see how bad that knock is and see what I think it is, if it's something at the bottom end or top end. And he's already took the valve cover loose, so it's nothing in the rockers, of course, but I don't know how bad of a knock it is, you know. I have no clue. But probably get a bunch of these signs off of it and clean it up a little bit, do something. Anyway, I appreciate everybody watching, and you'll see more on this later on, I'm sure. All right, bye.